Hello everyone, and welcome to another One Piece manga read along. Today I'm going to be reading chapter 1114, 1115, and 1116. I'll probably just be reading these three chapters today because last night our electricity went off for the fourth time this month, so I still have to catch up in today's stream with Bleach and the Blue Lock. So I don't have as much time as I usually do if I want to, add in a bonus chapter or something. Just a reminder that if you're watching this live, you're watching it on the 22nd of December. So it is almost Christmas. I hope everyone has some nice plans or just time to relax. But if you're watching it on Patreon, I just wanted to remind everyone about. So Patreon will have 3 to 4 videos in advance. Patreon and Discord. So currently, for example, the first 3 videos that I did are public. 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and 1 week ago. So today I'm going to be making chapter 1099 to 1101 public. So that means 1, 2, 3 videos plus this one is going to be posted in advance. So basically patrons and everyone on Discord will always have about 4 weeks in advance to watch each video. I just wanted to, kind of say the benefit of being a patron or a Twitch sub or a Ko-fi member if you want to join the Discord and access it from there. So yeah, let me in the meantime make this public. So once I make it public like that, I will add it. There's 2 playlists. There's the unlisted playlist, which includes, the unlisted early access videos, and then there's this, the public playlist. But yeah, the unlisted playlist doesn't really matter because you will usually access the unlisted videos from Patreon or Discord. Okay, so just wanted to recap where everything is available and how long in advance you will be receiving the videos. And if you didn't notice, I'm trying to do rainbow colors like red, orange, yellow, green, and then, and then blue, purple, violet. So today's video is the red video again. And I just think it'll help me to kind of you can see, okay, which one is next. After this color comes this color and da-da-da-da-da. Okay. So in the live chat today, we have Dark Shadow, Modru is here, Soto, Tiago, Monkey D, Kush, Cherry is here, Vasily popped by. I'm not sure if he is gonna stick around or watch Bleach and Blue Lock in advance. Plutonize is here. If I missed anyone, hello and thank you for joining me live. What I'm going to do is just quickly scan through the last chapter so that I remember where we're at. We got the reveal of this huge head. Remember that? Okay, so that happened, and what is death exactly? Where do our ideas truly reside? Everyone was kind of tuned in to hear about what Vegapunk was gonna say, and I remember in the end he said about the earth sinking or the world or something about. Wait, I'm gonna get there in a minute. Okay. This part I don't fully remember. It was Caesar saying to Vegapunk, "You've got to be kidding me. We're here trying to drag you off your ivory throne and you are about to die." Or his heart already stopped. So I guess you can't just give away the story to the world, says Morgans. How am I going to sell my papers? I want to make one thing very clear first. Whoever may have rendered their judgment unto me, I'm not trying to convince you that their intent is evil. I will not apply these labels of good and evil at all. In fact, because I don't understand, I understand too little about him to begin with, which is very interesting because for someone with that size of a brain and head to say, I don't understand something is quite amazing, right, actually. Okay, so this part was interesting. I don't think I really thought much about the fact that Robin was thinking that voice. I know it says 1114, but I'm still actually going through 1113 more than I thought I needed to. So that spider guy, he's chasing Nami and the Chopper and the Robin, and the Robin thinks that voice. That is quite an audacious. All right. Back when O'Hara was annihilated, there was someone that spoke to Professor Clover or Clover Hakase on the Denden Mushi, right? So she recognizes his voice. Nico Robin, the woman Aka Inu let slip between his fingers. The man is soft. Which is crazy to, like, what kind of person says that man is soft? Like, so then she's just like, the 5 elders, what? And she says, Nami shouts, protect Robin. Did I read this? And she, yes, I did. I remember the cloud. And then I was still looking for my mini cloud that I forgot where it is. Okay, so we'll do whatever it takes. And the monster man says, be gone, you miserable worms. So Greed, York is still looking for the real Denden Mushi that's making the announcement or whatever. She's thinking she wants to be a celestial dragon. And Vegapunk continues, however, you all have the right to know. To make a long story short, the world as we know it will sink into the sea. And it ends with the beautiful kind of like undersea scene and the mermaids and the whales, which I'm super excited to see in the anime, because I feel like they will make it a full screen, you know, just the ocean and that's going to be an exciting ending. Okay, so here we officially start with today's first chapter, 1114. Are you guys ready? And Bernard is here too. Welcome, Bernard. Okay. The cover story here, it's Yamato's Golden Harvest Surrogate Pilgrimage Volume 4. Go enshrine the sword at Hakumai Senma Shrine in Yasue's stead. That is your surrogate pilgrimage. So this could be like a whole spin-off side story filler, even though it's not filler because it's canon. But I mean, you know, if they needed a break from the main story, they could always just insert stuff like this. Would love to see it. The chapter is called The Wings of Icarus. Ooh. I forgot to open up my my manga, One Piece manga doc, so that I can add the titles. Oi, oi. I haven't been making notes. I'm just adding the titles. The Wings of Icarus. I think the same thing kind of happened with my anime reactions, though. Eventually, I just started, instead of making my notes separately, I just started talking about everything I thought. Okay. Turn the page. Here we go. It starts at Navy HQ, New World. The world will sink under the sea. Dr. Vegapunk, what are you talking about? And then Akainu, he does this. I don't know if that's always what his eyes look like, but he's just looking like this. Just smoking his cigar. So the Navy, at least most of them, seem to be very surprised. But I'm sure there were some... The Navy? Yes, the Navy. The Marines. I'm sure some of them might or might know an inkling of this information and whatever else Vegapunk might reveal. In Mocktown, you just hear a shout, but it's followed by "Gya ha 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 ha." So clearly, sounds insane. People are gonna think this is ridiculous. Now that's funny. So he decides that when he dies, he's gonna go out throwing the world into chaos. How exactly is the entire world gonna sink underwater, man? In Water 7, around here we believe him. But the whole world, he's not talking about high and low tides, is he? At Impel Down, we have the previous celestial dragon, Doflamingo, the one who... There's a whole... I miss him so much, Corazon, I mean. But anyway, they were celestial dragons, but their father decided that they wanted to go down to Earth, but then basically the people hated them and wanted to kill them, but the children got away. They didn't just try and hold the parents, the adults, accountable. They also tried to kill the kids. I think they tied them up and burned them at the stake or something. I don't remember how they survived, though. Can someone just recap me that? Shame. Corazon was so young back then. But even Doflamingo. So he is giggling with, what if seawater floods down to Impel Down? Isn't it your job to ensure the safety of the prisoners under your care, Mazalan? That 1 meter rise the other day had the prison panicking. How many meters does it take to sink the whole world? Most cities in the world will be wiped out with an extra 5 meters of water. And then he's just giggling. Hee hee hee. I don't remember how he laughs. Hee hee. He's just gonna have Michael Jackson laugh in my mind from now on. What do you think? Should we all move to much higher ground? And when he says much higher ground, I'm sure we know what he means. You want to see or just say about it? Oh, right. Don't tell me, cause I don't need to know. I can always rewatch One Piece starting next year. But I remember that, they did... I remember what I need to remember for now, so it's fine. The Ryugu Kingdom, Fishman Island. Father, what is going to happen? It just sounds so absurd. When you think about it, like, I don't know if I mentioned this last week, but I think I did. But stuff like, I don't think we can imagine how long has the Earth existed. Like, a fucking long time, okay? So my point is, we've never lived through like a real ice age. So if an ice age can exist, a water age can exist. It could boil down to the same thing, right? I mean, we truly are just we've only been around, us as a species and whatnot, if you think about all of the Earth's history, we're kind of like an accident, a happy accident. And the way the world, how do I say this? The way the world works, like, the sun coming up, where it comes up every morning in that direction. Is it west? Where does the sun come up? But it always comes up at the same side, right? My point is, this is a fact because this is what we've always known. But there there's many suns in outer space, and this is just our sun. And my point is, there's crazy facts, like if you think about like how gravity and everything is just perfect for our existence to be. If small things were different, even like minuscule numbers, we wouldn't be able to exist the way that we do now. So everything that is, we're just kind of lucky, and we have to just like, okay, we're here for now, and that's nice. Let's do the best we can, you know? But my point is, whether the whole world or all the earth, land sinks at one point, or the water goes down completely, or like, it's all possible technically. Yes, it sounds crazy when we live our whole lives thinking, you know, this is what the earth is, and I've lived here my whole life, and my grandparents have lived here, but in the grand scheme of things, a couple of 100 years is nothing, and we don't know. Yeah, so what he's saying is it's not that crazy, but I can understand why it sounds crazy. There's actually a book that please, after this chapter, remind me to go get my book, okay? I have a really interesting book about this kind of stuff that I meant to read, but then I haven't read it. So the Shirahoshi's dad says, it sounds so absurd. Back at Future Island, Egghead, what is he talking about? This is coming from the world's greatest scientist. He can wreak havoc on the world even with a lie. This is utter nonsense, Dr. Vegapunk. And then we have the reaction from the 5 elders. They look angry and distressed, like big eyes. Destroy the transmission transponder snail. In fact, destroy any life form you can hear. Everything else is secondary. And then York is running. How much are you going to tell them, Stella? Now, speaking of the near future for me, assuming that the sensors I built are functioning correctly, in the days after I record this message, there should be a most remarkable earthquake that strikes the entire planet. Is he talking about the earthquake from today? But Vegapunk's already dead, supposedly. As a result of that, the sea should rise about 1 meter around the world, rendering some islands uninhabitable. How did he know that was going to happen? Is it just a coincidence that it happened around the same time of his death? Or did he predict his death that closely? Was that a prophecy? Beaches around the world will be lost for good. If I'm wrong in this prediction, feel free to disregard the rest of this message. How? That's freaky, man. He totally nailed it. If this has happened, however, you should heed my words very carefully. So I'm assuming it just it's like a coincidence that the earthquake happened on the day of his death and everyone is hearing it at the same time. It's kind of like a coincidence, but also nothing is a coincidence, so it's like fate in a sense, maybe. Soto said, when I was telling everyone to remind me about my book, he said, I mean, a woman can go get a book? Is that a book about making sandwiches? And your one fan says I'm the one who harasses you. We all see who the real harasser is. It's called self-defense, okay? If this has happened, you should heed my words very carefully. Guys, I need to find out how high am I above. I live close to the beach. If the sea rises 1 meter, my house might be... I need to text Hanku. You should heed my words very carefully. This particular earthquake is not exactly what I would call a natural phenomenon. And then there's just screaming going on. Ah, eek, yeah. Oh, and that's because of this guy. Vegapunk! Don't you dare say another word! Go away! And it's just chaos over here. That spider is wreaking havoc. And Robin is trying to help everyone. And everyone's trying to help Robin. And the Brook is laughing. Yo-ho-ho-ho. But he not really. He just went yo-ho! Because I think he fell into Robin's arm net. Robin made a spider arm net. That's so cute. In my own way, I only ever hoped for peace. Begone. But this was the root of my first sin. What about the power plant? What about the power plant, Mars? Not yet. Excuse me. The what now? The fucking what now? Okay. Not yet, he says. That chamber must not be harmed above all else. I will go. I dreamt of a source of endless eternal energy, and in my desire to push the world forward into the future. Ah, the mother flame. Whoa, 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 whoa. I flew too close to the sun. Destroy every lost sign of life in the lab. Not that one either. Who's that? Who's that? Who's that? Oh. A and MU. Blub, blub, glub, glub, This is the mother flame. But I'm still kind of like, what about the power plant Mars? Okay, I turned the page. But first I screenshot the mother flame, wait. Okay. Are you guys keeping up? Soto's already pulled the shorter stick, so you shouldn't harass him. Chuan! Hi! I was just reading about the mother flame, if you want to join us. Thank you for the sub. So that's where I'm at on chapter 1114. So, that is why the title is Icarus. What is the title again? Let me just check. The Wings of Icarus. Because as far as I remember the story of Icarus, his dad made him some wings and then he flew too close to the sun and they melted because they were made of wax or something like that. So he's basically saying he flew too close to the sun. His wings melted. Okay. Allow me to explain, he says, just what it is that is happening to our world. And while he's talking about this, we see visuals of the giant, the robot that activated when I think it heard the drums of liberation. And remember in the last chapter it said like, I'm sorry or something? It's no good. That didn't work. We can't even make that thing so much as flinch. Yo, that's hot. Yeah. Hurry before we get roasted alive. And that's quite funny because it's a pig that's roasting them. And, usually it would be like them roasting the pigs. Anyway. Allow me to explain just what it is that is happening to our world. From about 900 years ago to 800 years ago, a period of a century. Guys, he's talking about the 100-year void. There is a span of history that is completely and entirely blank. What are you doing, Navy? Make him stop talking. We call this the void century because all records from this time were eliminated. The only means to know this lost piece of history. An execution is too good for him. Bring me his body. I'll mutilate the corpse. Void century? What is that? So it seems like there is even a celestial dragon that, I'm not sure if that's who she is. There's no need to confirm or deny this, but she looks to me like a celestial dragon, and she is also confused about what is the void century itself. The only means to know this lost piece of history is to find a message from the past in the form of poneglyphs scattered across the world. Look who it is! Jaguar Diesel! And decipher its contents. He's talking about it! He's talking about it! The whole world is hearing about it! Well, long, long ago, and now we're in Orange Town. Look who it is! Shoo-shoo! There were we haven't seen them, and so, have we ever seen them again? I don't remember ever seeing Shoo-shoo again. There were 20 kings who got together and they created the world. Doesn't that man know that? What do you think, Shoo-shoo? However, the world government has made it a crime of the highest order to decipher the message of the poneglyphs. And despite being a member of the government myself, I broke this law. That was my second sin. So his first sin has to do with the mother flame. And could that be is it... The atomic bomb was derived from Einstein's work, right? And the way that the mother flame destroyed that one island when they used it, it was kind of like a nuke. Am I saying that right? So is it kind of like a reference to that? Like, it had so much potential. The intention behind the discovery or the creation, not the creation of it, but it wasn't intended negatively, but obviously someone used it. Okay. So I broke this law, and that was my second sin. I wouldn't say breaking an unjust law is a sin, but sure, okay. This is not the topic of conversation. I'm just pointing it out, giving my own opinion on the matter. Through the sheer tenacity of a group of excellent archaeologists, I inherited some texts and a number of poneglyphs which I have deciphered. Zoro! Jimbei! That was Brooke. And continued studying to the best of my ability. I regret none of this. History, you see, tells a story. Wait! Something moved! Huh? Look! Are the clouds extending outwards? So when Edison said he would make sure we touched down on water, did he mean... Oh! Good point. If the clouds stretch farther out, we can reach the sea. Now get off this island, straw hats, and don't let the world government lay a finger on ya. Oh, Edison. I believe Brooke sounds like this. Zoro! Jimbei! He just randomly throws that in, you know, in case a girl might be walking by. Okay. In other words, what I know is an incomplete story of that 100-year void. It would be dishonest to fill the blanks with my own speculation, so I will leave you only with the verified truth. Hey, Straw Hat, don't push your luck. The main character of this story... What? Wait, that was Vegapunk. He said, the main character of this story was born into a kingdom with an impossibly advanced civilization 900 years ago. My Krista! Please don't remind me that the Brooks VA is that guy from GTO. Oh my gosh. Was born into... So the main character of this story, the story that is the 900-year void, but he doesn't have the full version, but... the main character was born into a kingdom with an impossibly advanced civilization 900 years ago. Like the sun god Nika spoken of in Elbaf legend, he fought with a body that stretched and contracted. His name was Joy Boy. And all of that is being said, played over the scene of a Luffy fighting against the giant warthog guy. Hey, stop trying to make us laugh. And he was the very first man on the sea to be called a pirate. Okay, so here the story starts. Imagine ending here, like he just starts mentioning, at first he says the whole world as we know it will sink into the sea. And then in this chapter, he starts talking about the 100-year void. And he's telling the whole world about it, the number one scientist in the world. And the main character of the story is Joy Boy, the kind of like power, well, whatever Luffy has right now. The power to stretch and the... And he says here, the sun god Nika fought with a body that stretched and contracted. His name was Joy Boy. More lore. It's very like... I mean, I don't know how people must have felt. The people who've been reading One Piece since it came out. Like, or, you know, from the first few years. Because, like, you waited almost 20 years for this, and now it's like, okay, let's just go. Okay, next is when I will tell you, it was crazy. Panya, how long have you been reading One Piece? How many years now? Okay, so the next chapter is 1105. Okay, at the beginning, we have the cover story. I'm so happy to see her. But the title is Yamato's Golden Harvest Surrogate Pilgrimage Volume 5. Hiyori and Otoko are packing me a bento lunch. Aww. She's so beautiful. I love that kimono. It's so gorgeous. And cute little Otoko. Oh, look, she's making onigiri. It's so cute. Soto says, I started when I was 13 and I'm 29. What about you, Kayla? Oh, wait. What? When I started reading One Piece, they didn't even reach the Grand Line yet. Wow, that's crazy. I started in March. What? Panya says about 22 years. That's crazy. Wow. A joke about you being a newbie manga reader. Oh, yeah, manga. Oh, yeah, that's true. I was thinking about when I started the story, not just the manga, but yeah. I've only been reading the manga for about a month. Ah, that's crazy. Panya, when I saw you, if you told me I'm 22 years old, I would have believed you. I can't believe you've been reading it for 22 years. That's like when you were born, you started reading One Piece. I'm going to do that for my kids though. They're going to be born and in that night I'll read them the first chapter of One Piece. Yeah, Cherry. How is Panya reading for 22 years? He doesn't look more than 20. I know, right? Crazy. But I think me and Panya are the same age. She's told me before, I think. But I mean, it doesn't seem that way. Okay, so here we go. Chapter 1115, Pieces of a Continent. So that is what it's called. Yes, Panya is 25 too, because that's how old I am. So the next chapter is 1115, Pieces of a Continent. Pieces of a Continent. My grandparents are coming for dinner, so I'm going to go get ready now. Bye, Dark Shadow. Enjoy. Before I actually forgot. I just quickly want to go get my book. I'll be really quick. I think if I can find it. I think it's downstairs. Wait, let me ask Hanku. Sotos. Can you bring me a book that I'm looking for? Yeah. It's called A Brief History of Everything, and it has like space on it. It should be somewhere on the bookcases. We have just that. There's not that many books. Just look for a yeah. Okay, I'll come get it. I'll come get it. It should be like on the one of the lower tiers of the. Okay, I'll be right. I'll be right back. I'll be right down. Okay, bye. Okay, Hanko doesn't know where my book is. I'm gonna go find it really, really fast because it's very, very interesting when it comes to this stuff that Vegapunk is saying. So this is the book. It's a short history of nearly everything. And this is how much I've read. Not very far. And I just remember reading stuff about... So interesting. It was saying like... I just want to read that one part. It says here... Wait... Wait, it's right here. To be here now, alive, in the 21st century, and smart enough to know it, You also had to be the beneficiary of an extraordinary string of biological good fortune. Survival on Earth is a surprisingly tricky business. Of the billions and billions of species of living things that have existed since the dawn of time, most, 99.99%, it has been suggested, are no longer around. Life on Earth, you see, is not only brief but dismayingly tenuous. It is a curious feature of our existence that we come from a planet that is very good at promoting life, but even better at extinguishing it. The average species on Earth lasts for only about 4 million years. So if you wish to be around for billions of years, you must be as fickle as the atoms that made you. You must be prepared to change everything about yourself: shape, size, color, species affiliation, everything, and to do so repeatedly. That's much easier said than done, because the process of change is random. To get from protoplasmal primordial atomic globule, as Gilbert and Sullivan put it, to sentient, upright, modern human being has required you to mutate new traits over and over in a precisely timely manner for an exceedingly long while. So at various periods over the last 3.8 billion years, you have abhorred oxygen and then doted on it, grown fins and limbs and jaunty sails laid. So it's basically about evolution, but that's not what I wanted to say. I wanted to read about the part where if some small things were different, life on Earth wouldn't be possible at all. Like some percentage of, I freaking don't know where it is though. Like, it's such a, but there's so many crazy things that has, here, I found it. For example, for the universe to exist as it does requires that hydrogen be converted to helium in a precise but comparatively stately manner, specifically in a way that converts 7/1000ths of its mass to energy. Lower that value very slightly from 0.07% to 0.06%, and no transformation could take place. The universe would consist of hydrogen and nothing else. Raise the value to 0.08%, and bonding would be so wildly prolific that the hydrogen would long since have been exhausted. In either case, with the slightest tweaking of the numbers of the universe as we know it, and it wouldn't be here. So it's just like, when you think about all of that stuff and how tiny we are, and like how little we remember as a species about things that happened a million years ago. Like, technically things like tomorrow or soon the whole world will be in ice or the whole world will be underwater. It's not really that crazy, but because we remember so little of our own species, because so much time has passed and things usually happen so slowly, everything sounds crazy when you think about it, because the world as we know it has been the way it is almost our whole lives. So like, yeah, it's crazy. Title: How to make sandwich in 3 easy steps. Sotos. Okay, let's continue. I don't want to, I think this is a pretty interesting book. I obviously didn't get very far into it, because generally I get interested in something and then I'm like, I don't have to understand electricity to know how to use it. That is how my brain works, and then I move on to the next thing, because there's 100 things I want to do and 100 things I want to know. So it's very difficult for me to kind of sometimes just stick with one thing. So the fact that I was able to stick with YouTube is quite great, thank God. But anyway, one day I'll finish that book. One day. So, chapter 1115, Pieces of a Continent. In the flower capital, Wano. I can't believe this gets signals from abroad. But as for why he was called a pirate, Orochi had it in the castle. So Joy Boy was a pirate? He sounds just like Luffy. You've heard of him, my lord? And then we're at Naval Base G4. G4? Was that filler that was super hilarious and funny with Condi Oriano? Was that? Well, no, that was G7. I don't remember. No, it was G7. G8? G5. Ah, fuck's sake. It was one of the G's, okay? I need to see another G5 filler because that was so funny. Anyway, at the Brig Naval Base G4, Joy Boy, I don't believe he's stronger than our captain. Right, Captain Kidd? What the fuck? Oh, former fake Luffy! What the hell? Captain... Leave the guy alone. He's already dead. That's the captain we love and admire. Kid's the most generous guy around. There's no way that I'm weaker than Joy Boy. Boy! Oh my gosh. He was fake Luffy and now he's fake Kid. Okay. I have only read from a handful of poneglyphs. Phew, so glad Kid is fine, yeah. I was very confused. At first I thought, like, did they fall through a black hole warp or something and came out in a prison and now they were, you know, they look different? Very briefly, for a split second, that thought went through my head. Like they went through a black warp hole and it just warped them into a space and then now they look like that. Because the one guy... Anyway. I have only read from a handful of poneglyphs, but what I found there was the record of a breathtakingly vast war. Of course it was. Joy Boy's enemies was the world government of the present day. Of course they were. Wait, is that us? If he was a pirate, that checks out. Vegapunk! More accurately, it was the precursor to the world government, a provisional army put together by the 20 kingdoms known as the Alliance. And Vivi, the Nefertari family, was part of that as well, but they stepped down for some reason at some point. Now that you've said fake Luffy, have you seen this one? I'll take a look at the end of the chapter. So, they're still walking through Egghead and trying to find the Denden Mushi that is making the announcement. You might say they had no other choice, so robust was Joy Boy's faction. They had no other choice. So he's saying the Alliance had to come together because Joy Boy's faction was so robust. I'm not really sure what robust means. I'm going to Google that. Like strong, tough, moving forward. Robust. Strong and healthy, vigorous, strong and rich in flavor. Oh, that is wine. Robust wine is strong and rich in flavor. But in general, it means like a vigorous. Hi, not me. So you might say they had no other choice. So robust was Joy Boy's faction. Without knowing the spark that caused the war, I won't say who was right or wrong. I'll simply state that two competing ideologies came head to head. I really like that. I really like that. It's exactly what I expected. Like, of course it was a war. Of course the winner... What is the quote about? Victory... What? History is written by the victors or hidden by the victors. Without knowing the spark that caused the war, I won't say who was right or wrong. I'll simply state that two competing ideologies came head to head. As I mentioned earlier, for its time, 900 years ago, the country of Joy Boy's birth was a startlingly advanced civilization. So very, very advanced. Maybe even aliens. What was I gonna say now about? I hope we never find out who was right or wrong. I don't think we need to know why a war started in order to know that what the current world government is doing is obviously wrong. Even if they were right back then, it doesn't even matter because this is generations later, and whatever caused our current, it's kind of similar to some of the Attack on Titan themes in the sense that the perpetuation of suffering, like one side suffers and then they become what they hate so that they never go through it again. They oppress the other side, and then generations go by, and then the other side rises up, and they never want to repeat what happened to them, so they become what they hate, and they oppress the other side. Like, it just keeps going like that. And then the one side always feels justified because of what the other side did, and they just kind of end up perpetuating that forever. And even in the real world, there are wars happening because both sides feel justified, and therefore they do bad things because they said the other side did bad things. Like, oh, I don't want to bring up stuff because I don't want to make it relevant to stuff happening today. It's better to keep it fictional. But my point is, it's very real. This is what happens. And so we can never really end the war because the other side will always remember what they did wrong and feel justified about their actions. And, you know, it's like a whole thing. It's just so frustrating because I understand it. But also it's like, can we just stop doing the same thing over and over again? You might say they had no other choice. Okay, so now we are on Zou. Here. Top one. And the weapons that were used over the course of this 100-year conflict appear to be impossible to recreate with the latest of modern science. That's amazing. Oh, carrot! Guys, did you see I took out my carrot figure that I bought in Japan? He's so cute. Hoi, hoi, hoi. Fif, 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 fif. Did he grow a mustache? What nonsense is this? He's talking peanuts. Eek, boss, I'm starving. Even I, a humble genius, cannot replicate them. Oh, that was Vegapunk saying that. I thought it was Noro Noro Beam. Psh, what's he bragging about? Poop, 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 poop. And therein lies the problem. Back at Labo phase. Stussy. Wheeze. Huh? It's me. Edison. Lower the barrier and run for safety. What? I can't. If anything happens to the Straw Hats before they leave. Honestly, there ain't much point to the barrier anymore if it can't stop these guys from getting past it. I've done all I can to help the Straw Hats make their escape. They can take it from here. Are you on your way, Jinbei? Sorry, almost there. Don't apologize. Was that you I heard saying something, Zoro? I'm gonna smack you after this. Hurry, more ships are gathering around the northeast coast. We don't want to land on the water only to get bombarded to bits. That's a relief, Stella. That's a relief. Stella would be so upset with me if I didn't help them get away. Nah, he wouldn't. Now, get out of here. But I don't know what to do. Without Stella around anymore, who do I live for? Ooh. And then Kaku looks like introspective because he was acting. I mean, I know when we met Kaku, he was pretending to be someone else. But then even after he revealed his true self, he was really different when we met him here at Egghead again. I felt like something changed. I mean, even back in Annie's lobby, when we saw his true self fighting Zoro, he was odd, but in Egghead, it's like did something happen? I wonder. I'm not sure, but he's looking very introspective, so I'm wondering if there is, something that happened. Don't let him use that katana. The old geezer can cut through anything. Yeah, this guy. Oh, Zoro's gonna fight him. Zoro's gonna fight him one day. He has a sword. He's a sword fighter. Zoro has to face off against him someday. What? Bio response detected. Bonnie, look out! What the hell? What the hell? Is she doing Matrix here? Like, yeah! And then she shrinks down to small, and so he misses, and he cuts off the mast. What is it? No, not the mast, the ship head. Like the front part. Can't hold that future form for long. Wheeze, wheeze. Thank goodness. The Void Century came to a close with the defeat of Joy Boy. How long must you jabber on, Vegapunk? Where's he going? Obnoxious bio response. But not before leaving vast, permanent scars of war across the face of the world. Whoa! What's he doing? Huh? What, did he just... Oh, dear Lord, he cut Labophase in half. It's like... Remember when Mihawk cut that ship in half and we were shook to our core? I'm not 100% sure, but this guy, I think, just cut Labophase in half. Yep, he did. Holy shit. The world is made up of a series of islands. Sailing between them. What if... Wouldn't that be so cool if, like, in our world, it's like all the continents were like one bigger continent. Imagine if through the war, because people were fighting with such great strength, they were splitting the earth, and that's how they broke apart. All these different, Wouldn't that be so cool? Because this guy just cut Labophase. Imagine. That would be so cool. The world is made up of a series of islands. Sailing between them is difficult, and many people never experience anything but their own culture at home. That is true. Yeah, duh. Everyone knows the sea is dangerous. But this shared understanding of the world does not necessarily apply to the world of 1,000 years ago, because a cataclysm occurred during the Void Century, causing the world to sink once before. Oh. We are currently living on the pieces of a continent that existed long ago. And then look at the reaction! And Sabo looks very, like, calm, though. Maybe he knew. Oh, look, there's his face. What does he say? What does he say? What does he say? Oh, he doesn't say anything. He just looks serious. The world of a millennium ago now slumbers unseen at the bottom of the sea. Wait a minute. Before I turn the page, let me think about this. You know, this reminds me of I don't remember if it was when I was watching Vinland Saga. I don't remember when I learned a little bit about this. But oh, it was from my history book. I'm gonna go get another book. Because I started reading that book first, but then I was like, this isn't enough. This isn't far enough. Because it was a history book, I wanted to learn about history. Then I got this book afterwards. So I started to read that book, but then I stopped reading it because I was starting to read this book. But then I stopped reading this book because I was interested in something else, and now I'm reading that book, which I won't get to. But do you guys understand how my brain works? Because I don't. Can someone explain to me? Let me go get that book because it has an interesting part again. Wait. Hij is dus breinerig, maar lichtbrein. I can't find it. It's like this book, but instead of philosophy, it's history. I don't know where I put it. I was reading it. I found it. Uncle, I found it. Okay. So this reminds me of something I read in here. It's about. Wait. So. Migration. So, like here. How'd you find it out of the. Something fell. Homo sapiens evolve in Africa. Homo sapiens spreads into the Near East but retreats to Africa, only later reaching Europe and Western Asia. After moving into Southern Asia, Homo sapiens groups follow the coastline to Southeast Asia. In Western Eurasia, Homo sapiens encounter... I'm going to get to it. Wait, I'm looking for it. So, there's a part where it talks about people... They moved from they migrated, but then the levels of ocean rose, And so they couldn't get back to where they came from. And that's how, like, everyone's from the same place, but they migrated. And then, for whatever reason, they couldn't always get back, whether it was because the oceans, you know, it said somewhere, but now I don't remember. I can't find it. I don't know where it is. But it was somewhere here, and the foundations of today's Europe were forged in the events of the late Ice Age. The Big Freeze expanded ice caps, lowering sea levels. Animals and humans colonized newly exposed low-lying land, only to be isolated when the sea levels rise again. Human groups are now faced with new opportunities and constraints. So that's how habitats change and plants and animals. So there, this is what I wanted to. It was that part. It reminded me of that, you know? So this was the Big Freeze. It was 200,000 years ago. Before that, 2.58 million years ago, the Pleistocene or Ice Age begins. So it was that, and then rising temperatures. Temperature eventually rose again after the Ice Age. And today's relatively warm and stable climate had become established by around 7000 BCE. The ice caps melted and rising sea levels separated Eurasia from the Americas, turned Southeast Asia into an archipelago, and made islands out of peninsulas such as Japan and Britain, thereby isolating many human groups. The impact on ecosystems was particularly severe for the large animals known as megafauna, mammoths, for example. The open glacial steppe grasslands in which megafauna thrived were replaced by expanding forests, and across the globe, the combination of environmental change and human hunting drove many species into extinction. This was long ago. The forests and wetlands and the new post-glacial world offered humans many new opportunities. They hunted large forest animals such as red deer and wild boar. And doesn't that make you guys think a little bit about golden kamui with, you know, how they survived in the cold? They hunted, but then, you know, when they get to the warmer parts, or in golden kamui, it's not that long ago. It's just winter versus summer, how to survive if you're living, you know, outside, you know, like more. They hunted large forest animals such as red deer and wild boar, as well as smaller mammals like rabbits, and they foraged for a range of aquatic and coastal food sources. Migratory fish like salmon and sea mammals such as seals and shellfish, seasonal wildfowl, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, my point is, it's reminding me of all of this real world history, like, that we barely understand, you know, in our day-to-day lives. Your average person, even well-informed people, I think, know quite little about history, and it's difficult to know anything because it was so long ago. Like, how can I prove to someone what I ate like 2 weeks ago? So there's obviously, history is more scientific than that. There's receipts and shit, but we know only small parts that we can prove. And just like Vegapunk doesn't want to fill in the gaps with his own guesses and speculations, even though he's a genius, we end up doing that as a, you know, even historians, they don't agree on who and what and when and where. And facts about history are changing all the time when new things are discovered, and then we have to adapt what we already think we knew. It's just very, very interesting. One Piece lore, IRL lore, what's going on? Meanwhile, the devil fruit users. Why is the rum gone? Why is the land gone? Okay, anyway. I'm really invested, is what I'm saying, because it feels like Oda took a lot of inspiration from real world concerns, and I think it's like it's inspiring me, at least, it's not just One Piece. There's other stories too that have all kind of like led me to be interested in. And I think that's a good thing. Like, we should be interested to learn how much we don't know. Like, it's actually vast. It's crazy when I see some people having these arguments online on Twitter and calling each other names and stuff. And I mean, they're basing their whole personality, some of these people online, off of this much of what they know about history. When really there's a lot. Like, the whole world as we know it. The way that all these people in One Piece right now are finding out stuff that sounds ridiculous to them, we would all be like that if we actually took a real interest in how much we don't know. And I don't know if we'll ever know. But at least it's interesting to try and learn and realize that you don't know what you think you know. Okay, anyway. So let's continue here. After this part, do you see it? After this part where he says, the world of a millennium ago now slumbers unseen at the bottom of the sea. In fact, one can assume that in the past, there were a number of continents we know nothing about. This is all so wild. Where are you going, Nojiko? The world's in danger. You can tell me about it later. I'm going to check on the tangerine groves. And I like this perspective too, because as interesting as it is to learn about how much we don't know and how that influences our lives, or how that should influence the way we think about things and how we won't get to that part yet. At the end of the day, this is a good perspective too, because we don't really have control about all of that. Right now, what might be as important is, or what a lot of us shouldn't forget about, is the here and now. The tangerine groves. Food needs to be grown. You know, it's great that more and more people should learn about history, understand how vast it really is and how much we don't know. But at the end of the day, if there are people who aren't concerned with the why and how, and they just want to focus on, like, okay, that's cool, interesting enough, but I have work to do. I have a life to live. That's cool too. I wouldn't even say being ignorant is easy. It's not even ignorance. It's just that if you want a society to thrive, you need people who grow the food, who don't necessarily understand how to make cars, but they can grow crops. They can raise cattle. I can't do that. My dad's a train driver. I can't drive a train, but he drives trains. So, like, you need all kinds of people to make a society work. You can't, life is tough. You can't know everything. You can, even if you spend your whole life dedicated every moment that you're awake to learn about history or science or whatever, you're never going to know everything. So if some people decide, I'm going to focus on what I want to focus on whether it's growing crops or tangerines or whatever, that's a fine approach too. But as long as more people are open to learning and knowing that they don't know, but it's not like the thing is, the people who need to know that they don't know are usually the people on the internet arguing about things, pretending that they know. Whereas Nojiko's not that person. She doesn't need to know, but she also, not knowing, she won't pretend like she knows and then go argue with people about what is the truth. She's like, she's happy. This is her tangerine grove. And that's fine as well. If the world were still the same as it was in the past, then the act of erasing 100 years of history would be simply unthinkable and impossible. However, it makes much more sense when you understand that the rise in sea level over that century was 200 meters. What? 200 meters? Not so crazy when you even attempt to look at what was happening 200,000 years ago. Doesn't sound so crazy. Holy mother. And by the way, this is the book I started with. I started this book 5 years ago. I got interested in philosophy, and then I was like, you know what? To understand philosophy, I want to read history first. What was historically happening for people to start these kinds of philosophy? Because this book tells you about each philosophy that existed in each period of time. But the philosophies only existed maybe or came about because of what was happening historically and politically at the time. So that's what gave rise to this. So I went from this to this. And then I was like, but let's go further back to before the universe even existed and atoms and shit. Then I went this far back. And then, like I said, I'm reading another book now, but that's what I'm saying. There's just so much to know. And you'll never know. And then my brain just keeps going. Anyway. So, 200 meters. What? 200 meters? These gigantic battleships are only 60 meters long. No wonder the whole world vanished. Hey, don't get distracted by the story. Cypher Pole and the Seraphim came falling down to the ground level. We gotta rescue them. Did you hear that? This man's still lying. The old coot's cracking me up. No way any of that is true. Yeah, no way. It's just, guys, this is just a manga. There's no way none of this is true. It's crazy. There's no way any of this is true. I'm sure. Can't be the lost continent. What? And then, wait. Oh, here it is. I just want to quickly read the contents of this book. Maybe I missed this. So the contents of this book, I'm just going to give you an overview. It starts with how to build a universe. Welcome to the solar system. The Reverend Evans universe. Then the size of the earth, the measure of things, the stone breakers, science, red in tooth and claw, and elemental matters. Then a new age dawns, beginning with Einstein's universe, the mighty atom, getting the lead out, and blah, blah, blah. There's so much. The rise of life, small world. In here somewhere, maybe it talks about ice time, the road to us. Ice time, isn't that guy's move? He does ice time. Maybe Oda read this book. Maybe. No, I'm joking. I took my joke too far. It should have just ended like 60 seconds earlier. So anyway, they're laughing at Aokiji. Yeah, that's who I meant. They're laughing while listening to Vegapunk. Oh my lord. Who's that? Who's that? This looks like an interesting person. Very serious while everyone else is laughing, hey? Hi, Mike. Cherry Blossom Kingdom. How does such a thing happen? There's still so much to learn about the new world. That's Dr. Kureha. Hey, look, it's Miss... the arty girl, the one that paints people's moods. I loved her power. That mountain over there is just about 200 meters tall. Imagine the sea rising that high. It sounds like hell. How many people must have died? As for why the sea level rose so much during that century, it would be natural to assume the work of a sudden natural disaster, but I can state for a fact that this was a man-made disaster. Ooh, that's interesting. Man-made disaster. That's not unexpected. Out of everything that I've read so far, this is to me the most unexpected part. a man-made disaster, but probably as a result of the war, I would assume. I mean, considering that 900 years ago they had this advanced technology, and Vegapunk's own mother flame was supposed to help the world, but it's like it could be used in the worst ways, right? And that could change the world as we know it too. And if it's okay. And aren't there like right now, isn't there places like Stern or whatever it's called, and they're trying to like make a black hole or something, and then that could like destroy the world or something? I mean, isn't that kind of experiments happening somewhere? That's just crazy. If such a cataclysm were caused by natural forces, then the initial disaster would have spanned several centuries and inflicted slow but continual damage upon the world. Oh, wait. I keep getting confused. Like, this part is Morgan's. And then I continue reading that as if it's Morgan's, but it's Vegapunk again. I know what the speech bubble means. This is Vegapunk talking, but I keep just reading the text and forgetting to make sure about the bubble. So anyway, but by any measurement, climatology, geology, environmental and atmospheric science, this dramatic shift could not have happened within a single century. So could the 100-year void actually span much more than that? So the cause is something else. Oh, he's saying if it were natural. Okay. That makes sense. Because natural things happen very, very slowly usually. Like an ice age doesn't just, you don't wake up one morning and there's an ice age. It starts very slowly and it gets colder and colder. So, but he's saying because there was just 100 years, it must have been man-made, the cataclysm, because natural ones don't generally, okay? Natural ones that changed the earth this much. Because, I mean, an earthquake can happen within a few minutes, and that changes things a lot, but not this level of change, like a 200-meter rise. So the cause is something else. I don't know. And when I detected the rise in worldwide sea levels the other day, I had my answer. Dun, dun, dun! I knew the cause and confirmed its existence. The ancient weapons that sank the world into the ancient weapons that sank the world into the sea 800 years ago still exist today and await the moment that they stir once again. In other words, the vast war that arose during the Void Century never came to an end. Doesn't that just make so much sense? I feel like my brain is mixing things I said during Attack on Titan and One Piece. Because I remember saying when I was talking about Attack on Titan history, because in Attack on Titan they go back, very far back. It was in Attack on Titan, right? And then there was this, and I'm going to spoil Attack on Titan right now, so just mute me if you haven't seen it. There's this part where there's a war, and then this side, and then this side, and then this side, and then this side, which was oppressed by this side because of like one bad guy, but then he wanted to rule the world. He oppressed them, but then eventually they fought back, and they chased this side over there. And then it was like all this time passed, but really the war never ended. Kind of. I remember saying that at some point, and it's like, it makes me think all these stories are like bringing, and then when you think about now, we had World War I, which kind of caused World War II. Like the stuff at the end of World War I is what led to why World War II even happened. What if it never ever came to, like, what if it's still happening? Like, what if war is just forever and ever and ever, because we never really are able to put the past behind us, and it's just like later the other side does something again, and then I don't know. But bringing it back to One Piece, the ancient weapons that sank the world into the sea 800 years ago still exist today. In other words, the vast war that arose during the Void Century. Wait, arose during the Void Century? So that was the fight between Joy Boy and the Alliance, the United Nations. I mean, what? The Alliance, the 20. So that war that existed within those 100 years never came to an end. Dun, 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 dun. I'm going to screenshot this, and I'm going to put it in my notes, just because that is like, where? So, how did you guys feel when you read this for the first time? What were the thoughts that were coming up? Do you remember? When did this chapter come out? Oops. How do I add a picture again? Okay, plus image from photos. That one, add. This was in May this year. Damn. May. How did you guys... I can't believe I didn't see this all over Twitter. I mean, I haven't been on Twitter for most of this year, which I'm really happy about now. But this is big. Okay, but we have one more chapter to read, so let's not pause for too long, because I'm already talking so much. And if you don't like that, if you want me to shut up and read, maybe just shut up and leave. I'm joking, but there are always those people. I don't know about manga read-alongs, but they're always in my anime reactions. And like recently with my Dragon Ball Z, I've gotten quite a few people, no, you pause the video too much. And I'm like, you know what? You complain too much. Two can play at this game, bro. Okay, anyway, the next chapter is called Inner Conflict. Ooh. Pro tip, there is a fast forward button on YouTube. I was thinking about the idea that if the world government hates devil fruit users, then the old world government making the sea level rise would be an idea to keep them contained. Yeah, to split people up. Like in do you guys remember that movie about the ants, Bug's Life? And then the grasshopper, the one grasshopper says he laughs about some... Wait, I'll just show you the scene. I'll show you the scene. Bug's Life, grasshopper scene. Could you split the people up? Divide and conquer. That's like War 101. That's genius, Tiago. Okay, look at this. Wait, my earphones. I need to get my earphones. Wait, I guess I don't need to. Where are the subtitles? So I'm not gonna play the scene because of copyright. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy what Tiago said. So let me just copy this. T Silva. So there's your name to credit your theory. Brilliant. Okay, and then paste. And then I add divide, fudge off, divide and conquer, and I add a link to this, so you guys cannot watch this, but I'm just gonna read through it. And I'll add the link here because I think it's something our government does too, to keep the people contained. There was an ant that stood up to me. Yeah, but we can forget about him. It was just one ant. Ha ha ha. And then everyone's laughing. Yeah, boys. Blah, 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 blah. So then he takes one seed and he throws this guy with it. He throws him. Look, look, look. This boop. And it doesn't hurt him. He's like, what is that gonna do? You throw one thing at me. And then he opens up the whole thing. And then it crushes them. So even if one ant or one little seed can't make a difference, if you let one ant stand up to us, they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1, and then they can crush you. So that's the whole point of the scene. It's a really good scene and a really good movie, but I haven't watched it in a long time, since I was a kid. But that seems like kind of genius, right? It seems oh my lord! And when you think about these guys and they keep calling other people ants and bugs and worms and insects, it's like, yeah, it's not even a theory anymore. That was their plan. That's what they did. I mean, it's still a theory, but I'm very convinced now that it's exactly the kind of thing that they would do. Why did my mouse die? Hello? Can you? Okay. Okay, my mouse is dying. You were plugged in, you son of a gun. You are charged. I don't think the bottom part was plugged into the computer, so it wasn't charging at all. Gureto. So that's kind of crazy when you think about it. Okay, I need to go pee before I read 1116. So just give me a minute. And then I'll be back to read the last chapter for today before Bleach. Okay. when you think about it, when you think about it, maybe this. You remember that Vegapunk said that devil fruits. His theory is that devil fruits exist because of people's desires, like they were brought into existence by the desires of people. And for me, that sounds like kind of a quantum theory. It's in the realm of quantum physics. At least that's what I thought of when he mentioned that theory. And maybe because Joy Boy's civilization or people were so advanced, maybe they were people that had quantum physics more figured out than we do at the moment. So like the fact that devil fruits exist is because of maybe they have that power. Like if you think about people who don't know about electricity, right? Not people who choose not to use it. I'm talking about or even if you think about movies where one group of people had fire and the other group of people didn't. Fire and electricity, like lightning, and people used to think that it was the work of gods, right? And if someone from back then saw us switch on lights, they would think it's like sorcery, right? So my point is, if we have now taken science, electricity, whatever, not for granted, but we understand it, so it doesn't seem like sorcery to us anymore. It's just part of life, like it's science. Anyone can use electricity if they understand it, blah, blah, blah. So my point is, Joy Boy's civilization was far advanced compared to our civilization. And our civilization right now is only just starting to talk about and think about and figure out quantum physics and this and that, right? So my point is, maybe Joy Boy's people were people that had that stuff figured out about creating devil fruits through merely desiring certain powers. Maybe that's why they wanted the people to split up, so that they couldn't collectively. I'm thinking of two different theories at once. I'm thinking of Tiago's theory still, and then the other theory. Splitting people up, that alone will be successful, because if you split people up, it's not less people working together means it's easier to take them over. But I'm just trying to say, maybe Joy Boy's people are people that he once had that kind of power, you know? Okay, I don't know. I always like to remember the quote from Arthur C. Clarke: magic is just science that we don't understand yet. Exactly. So my point is, what I was trying to say is, like, Vegapunk's theory about the existence of a devil fruit, maybe it's a kind of science that Joy Boy's people had figured out. You know? So, maybe, I don't know. Like manifesting your inner vision into something tangible. Like devil fruit. Okay, anyway, but I'm just thinking maybe the creation of devil fruits in the first place is something from Joy Boy's people. Tiago's theory kind of reminds me of the Tower of Babel. Yeah, that too, because people were building the tower, and then to divide them, you just have to... Yeah, I remember that. It's kind of the same, because whether people are physically separate or they can't understand each other, either way, you end up splitting them apart, right? Like, people can't work together if they can't understand each other. It's not as easy. Okay, so here we are on chapter 1116, Inner Conflict. Yamato's Golden Harvest, Surrogate Pilgrimage, Volume 6. Otsuru gave me medicine and dumplings. I want dumplings, I'm hungry now. The weapons that sank the world into the sea are still lurking around somewhere. The war from 800 years ago, still ongoing. Where? How could any of them still be alive? How can this war still be ongoing if no one knows about it? I mean, if you think about it, there is a lot of war going on in the world right now and we don't know because we're just living our lives. But that's on smaller scale. But I think it's very possible that there are very possible. Anyway, look at this. There's a picture of the Nefertari. I forgot her name. What's her name again? The one that was mentioned by when Vivi's dad was talking to them and then Sabo came. Titi. No, that was Vivi's mother. Soto, shut up. Don't laugh. Nefertari Titi was Vivi's mother. Who was the other one? Nefertari. Lily! Titi, Lily, Vivi. I was close. So why is there a picture of her? Why is Emu looking at it? Where is Emu going, by the way? And what is the sound effect? K'tok, k'tok, k'tok. Explain, Vegapunk. Sadly. Oh. Doesn't he go, Mama? Sadly, I owe you all my deepest apologies, but I need you to understand why. I wanted to create the energy that would power the industry of the world to come, and though it is still incomplete, I have at last reached a practical stage of my life's work. The mother flame, a fire that never goes out. It is an energy source that will one day in the future enrich the lives of people all over the world. Because, I mean, that is currently a lot of the wars that we know about are being fought over resources, you know? Limited, what we feel is limited resources. I mean, if you watch Dr. Stone, it will give you a good idea of people discovering and then, you know, the industrial age and the what drives it. Because, you know, feeding thousands, you need resources and stuff. So anyway, so something like an eternal flame would be very useful. Unfortunately, one little piece of that flame has been stolen. The fault of this lies entirely with me. Cipher Pole's in the center of the island. The flames are too intense. We can't get there. There's some major shaking going on up here. What happened, Edison? I'm kind of stunned too. This is crazy. The basement lab of the labo phase and the Cipher Pole agents fell down here. And now I can't send more island clouds up to the Straw Hats. Oh. What? Oh. Who's this? It looked like Zoro for a second and I almost died. S-Snake is in a bubble and then there's someone lying next to her. Is that... Oh, it's just a random. Okay, so it's one of the agents. So yeah, fell down? What do you mean fell down? One of those crazy 5 elders is heading your way. Please, you have to run. May I free Kaku, Edison? They might be punished for their actions. I won't let him go after the Straw Hats, and I know the first thing he'll do if he's released. You know? I get it. I'm sorry for putting you through this. He was a friend, wasn't he? I'm sorry for making you betray that friendship. But you still went ahead and saved us. I know you wish you could have been true to both. Because if you think about it, well, I don't know about Lucci, because he always has been to me just someone who wanted the license to kill. Like, I don't really think that much about his character. He was just like a bloodthirsty guy, which may partly be due to his... No, it can't be due to his devil fruit, because he was shown to be that way even before. But anyway, a lot of the people in government, including someone like Kaku, maybe, they've been led to believe that they're on the right side of history. And like Vegapunk said, maybe they are. We don't know who's really bad and good and whatnot. Right now, that's not what's important here. But it makes sense that she wouldn't actually be mad at Kaku. She didn't betray them because she didn't like them or anything.
I need a shirt.
You're wearing a shirt. What are you doing? Oh, he needs... Okay, just give me a second.
I'm not finished with the video yet.
That's fine. You can go get whatever you need to get first, because it's really late.
Yeah.
And get us snacks too. Okay. Don't talk too long. I'm busy. What? And you have to make dinner too.
I know.
You want to braai again?
Yes.
Then do that, because I know that's always easiest for you. Just
and then
get some nice... There's still leftover potato salad, so you can just get...
smaller potato salad. Or a noodle salad.
Or a noodle salad. Get a noodle salad. And some more... There's still... Maybe, but get some more garlic rolls or whatever.
The frames and stuff I need to get tomorrow.
Okay, it's fine. We'll get it tomorrow, because I'm off. We need to get all the Christmas stuff tomorrow. Luckily, there's not too much. And luckily, we don't have to cook.
Yeah.
Well, have you paid?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
Count the cats.
Okay.
Make sure they have food.
Okay.
Anyway. Soto said, I wouldn't mind seeing Nefertiti. I'm sorry for making you betray that friendship, but you still went ahead and saved us. I know you wish you could have been true to both. That kind of inner conflict is a calling card of humanity, Stasi. Follow your heart and do whatever it takes to survive. I will. Now, whenever you say, shut up, Sotos, I have to think of that one Sotos fan going, don't bully him. Great. All of this is going in his exposed video that he's been making for the last 7 years. Around 2 weeks after the theft of the flame, the sky over Lulusia shone with a powerful light. Lulusia? And the kingdom vanished without a trace, according to reports. After that was when I observed the first signs of worldwide earthquakes. So possibly they have one of the weapons, and they use the mother flame to power it. Or I don't know. As a scientist and with utmost pride in its development, I can tell you this. That was an ancient weapon? You mean someone did that to Lulusia? Nothing but the mother flame could have created so much energy. Lulusia's gone? Not to my knowledge, Majesty. We'll go and find out. Yes, sir. The flame that I created was used to activate an ancient weapon. And why did they destroy Lulusia again? Was it because of Sabom? They didn't... but also because Lelouch was one of the ones that revolted, one of the first ones. I'm having cramps. Ugh. Okay, the flame that I created was used to activate an ancient weapon. I know nothing about who might have carried this out, but the results speak for themselves. My actions have led directly or indirectly to the loss of many human lives. But that's not, I wouldn't even consider to blame him, to be honest, only because I don't blame the inventor of the knife for people being stabbed. I don't invent, I mean, that's just the most basic thing I can say. It's like, he had, it's like, I understand his feelings of guilt because, for example, the internet itself is like a tool, and the people are not always ready for certain tools. Like if I give, I've had this conversation before, but if I give a power tool to a baby and the baby ends up hurting himself, it is my fault to some extent, right? So like you shouldn't give certain things to people if they're not ready for it. But this is different than that. But the internet is kind of a similar example. I think that a lot of kids, I don't know if you guys have watched that, one of the many documentaries about how the internet has impacted people's mental health and stuff. It's like it was a power tool that we were not 100% ready for yet. Like, but the thing is, with most things, like cars didn't come with seat belts. They were made, and then people got hurt, and then we put a safety measure in place. Okay? So I mean, I guess it's like that. But it's not like it was stolen from him. He made something and he didn't just hand it out to the world before they were ready. Someone stole it. So personally, I don't at all blame Vegapunk, but I can see why he would feel guilty. Because it's maybe he feels like someone who gave a baby a power tool. It's not like the baby can't eventually hold the power tool when it's learned certain skills. Like first you have to buy him a toy saw and a toy drill. and then later you can, you know, he can have a wood shop in high school or whatever. And then later he can handle the power tools by himself. But that's not always how the world works. That's not how the internet was introduced, because I feel like it was one of those things that kind of, it started out slowly, but then it went pew, and it was like now we're scrambling to figure out the seatbelts for the internet, because clearly a lot of people, it's not doing only good, it's doing bad as well. But I think that's a different discussion. I'm not saying the internet's bad or anything. My job depends on it. It has done a lot of good. But I think it's the same here with the mother flame. It's like it has so much potential for good, just like anything. Fire has been used to kill people, but the inventor of fire isn't to blame. Knives, the internet, all of these things, it's like even money itself, it's like it's neutral, and then it has the potential to do all this great stuff. But if someone steals it and uses it to stab someone, well, that's always going to happen though. No matter what you invent, there will be people who find a way to nefariously benefit from it, to hurt others. That's just a very sad reality as well that we need to take into account. No matter what you make, someone's going to use it to hurt someone else. You don't have control over how people use things. Human nature, a part of human nature, a potential reality. Like, not every human does it, but I know that every human has the potential to, yeah. Also, hi, Black Blade. Don't put a seatbelt. Just get thrown out of the car. Be a man. When you say the inventor of fire, we all understand it's Prometheus. Did you guys are you talking about the cartoon called Prometheus and Bob? The alien and the caveman? Do you guys remember that on Nickelodeon? I watched that as a kid. It was so funny. Kind of scary, but mostly funny. Remind me to look it up afterwards. I was talking about Greek mythology, but that works too. Of course the Greek was talking about Greek mythology. I should have known. So, can I quickly see something? You know Miss Golden Week? Never mind. I think it's in the last chapter, but... Anyway, so Vegapunk goes down on his knees and his head is on the floor. And he says, my actions have led, directly or indirectly, to the loss of many human lives. A fact that weighs most deeply upon my soul. I am so sorry. I have inadvertently proven that the man-made disaster that once sank the world is possible again. No, Vegapunk, it's not your fault. What does that mean? Pluton is... Shh. Hush, Lord Momonosuke. In the past, there were 3 ancient weapons, and Joy Boy attempted to preserve them for the future. Why would he do that for such dangerous things? Have we not sunk far enough? Yeah, but he wanted to preserve them so that the other side could fight back. Because if one side has it, and the one side will always have it, then the other side... Who is the true evil here? And who fights the good fight? The day will come when all of the answers are laid bare. You're going to choke yourself, you old fool. He's stress eating. And I warn you that that moment will happen when we reach the very precipice of the world's drowning. The void century is still ripe with mystery. However, there are some who have learned the truth. You're really going to tell them everything, Vegapunk? The king of the pirates' crew. What? Pirates? Why? So he means Goldie Roger learned the truth. Why are the secrets of the world in the hands of pirates? We're all in terrible danger. It's because of the pirates. Yeah, that's why you're in danger. Hey, wait! That doesn't make sense, Stella. How did you know that I stole the mother flame from you? Of course it was her. That hurts so much. So that's why he blames himself. Because it was him that did it, that stole the flame. A part of him, at least. You can't, maybe that's why you shouldn't separate the best and the worst parts of yourselves. Because it's the best parts that can maybe stop the worst parts. I stopped synchronizing. You couldn't have known. And I know you're terrible at lying and acting. You were truly shocked when you found out. York, this was all you're doing? You received the information about Leloucia and then observed the data? Whoa, she looks so bad, bad there. I never even, all this time, I didn't even see her... I didn't even think about how bad or good she is. I mean, I was angry, of course. But I just thought she was like a silly girl that doesn't really understand what she's doing. Like, ugh. And now that was the first time where I really saw her as like, oh, you knew what you were doing. What does that mean? The timeline doesn't add up. Did you know about the government's response? But if that's the case, I've been wrong all along. He wouldn't do anything as tepid as just hiding the transmission transponder snail. Yup. If he knew all along, you've been on a wild goose chase this whole time. He's a genius. A genius. Do you really think after the piece of the mother flame was stolen that he... 5 elders! I know where the transponder snail is. You're certain? Absolutely. I'm Vegapunk too, you know. The transmission transponder snail is under the protection of the Iron Giant in the Fabrio phase. Nothing's working on it. He put it under the protection of the technology of the past because it's the secret of the past. Isn't that, like, all of this leads to, isn't that like poetic in a way? Wait. When they learned all the true history, why did they drift apart without telling anyone? Why didn't they act on it? You've had too much to drink. It's not like you to be this wiped out. I'm just an old man now, and you're telling them too much, Vegapunk. Don't be a fool. Us old folks should keep our secrets. Don't rob the young'uns of all the fun. Right, Roger? Kind of like when Luffy didn't want to be spoiled. And also, it's something that you can't just tell people. Like, maybe it's something you can barely believe yourself. And the only reason people are even maybe gonna take this seriously is because it's Vegapunk saying it. But I think what Vegapunk, he's like, why didn't you do something about it? Anything? Tell. But like, it's the kind of thing you have to figure out for yourself. But also, with something so crazy, it's like, I don't know. It's an appreciation for it too. If someone tells you about it versus experiencing it. That's why they gave people they started the great pirate era, right? They wanted to lead people to it. They did act on it in some ways. But it's yeah. And I mean, how often, when it comes to science or other truths, like, I mean, historical truths, it's quite often in our own world that when people start talking about something and they proclaim it to the world, like what Galileo, when he was talking about the earth being round or something. I don't remember what it was. Or the earth going around the sun, or the sun going... What? What did people believe back then? Anyway, so he was imprisoned. It wasn't really their responsibility, right? They led people to find out the truth for themselves. But, I mean, they already had a target on their backs. If they had tried to tell people this, people would have first of all thought they were crazy, but the government would have, like, tripled, quadrupled down on them the way that they're doing on Stella right now, Vegapunk. Like, geocentric versus heliocentric. There's an anime about that called Orb. Tiago has mentioned it quite a few times. I would like to watch it. And that's where we're ending for today, guys. that is some information like bombs. There was a lot to talk about and a lot that we still will talk about and can talk about based already on what was revealed. But I'm feeling, as I feel every other week, I need time to let it settle. But I can tell you it is because of it's because of shows like One Piece, Attack on Titan, Vinland Saga, Neon Genesis Evangelion. These kind of shows have made me think about things from history, science, religion, spirituality, like all this kind of stuff. I started, like I told you, I started with philosophy, which I had 3 years of philosophy when I was in university. So I was already kind of like, I knew what, like I knew, but I wasn't that interested in it. I just thought, oh, it's interesting. But because of all of these shows that I've been watching and the discussions that are brought up, the themes that are brought up by these authors, and these stories might be their own way of exploring this world of knowledge that, we know so little about. But I mean, it's these stories that have led to me being interested in philosophy and then history and then further, like the creation of the universe. And then now, like I said, I'm reading some other books as well. Hopefully I finish this one. But we'll see. Eventually I'll get to everything. And even then I won't know. You can read every book and you'll never know everything. You'll never understand, because scientifically, philosophically, there are subjects that have been debated for hundreds of years that don't have conclusions. So there's never a point that you'll reach where you know everything and you understand everything and you have all the answers. But at the very least, knowing that you don't know is a good start, and being interested to learn. So that's why I really appreciate the anime and manga world, just because amidst all the fun and craziness and the battle shonen and everything, all of these stories, not all of them, but a lot of them, at some point they touch on these subjects and somehow it's all come together, and I feel like a slightly better person than I was before I started watching anime. So at least for that, I'm very grateful. There's a game that goes very deep in philosophy stuff. Missions have some deeper meaning behind them. If you're interested, Nier Automata is good. I watched the anime, and then I dropped it because I said I'd rather play the game. Because the anime kind of killed it when they kept going on breaks and stuff. But I think that the game would be better to play anyway. But I'm currently playing Persona 5. And even that has some very interesting themes and stuff, so, Lore piece is always the best. Lots of things make sense now with how Roger's crew is living. Persona is goated. Well, 10 out of 10 out of 10 chapters today. Thank you guys for listening to me read for 2 hours and ramble on about all the books that I started to read and then got interested in something else and started to read that, and then so on and so on. I'm really looking forward to next. There is still one Sunday left in the year, right? So there's still one more Sunday left in the year. I will be reading, chapter 1117 to 1119 on the 29th of December. Ow! Stop burning me! Ow! My hot water bottle doesn't have a proper cover, so I'm burning myself. The joy of books, they will always be there. True that. The pages might turn yellow and the covers might get dusty, but they're always gonna be there. Unless your house burns down, in which case, shit. But then you can always buy them again if you get reimbursed by insurance for your house. and eventually you can rebuy the books, right? As long as you survive with your life. So don't grab anything, just your loved ones, and let the books burn. This has taken a turn. Did you just say meow? Is it Orochimae-chan week? Yeah. Yeah, very sadly. It was late, so I was excited, but anyway, thank you guys for listening. I'll see you next Sunday. And please remind me, there was that other thing we were supposed to talk about Luffy and Ace's choices. Remember, I was going to do it last week, and then I did, and then I didn't. And then I was going to do it this week, but now I'll do it next week. So I need to remember that. Okay, see you guys then. Bye.